What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're here with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you love to call them. And this is our Wicked Gods deck for August 2025. And if you don't know the Wicked Gods, they are kind of the evil versions of the God cards themselves. So of course you got the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. There is no like Winged Dragon of Ra future potential though. The Wicked Eraser, which is obviously Slifer, and then the Wicked and Dreadroot, which is Obelisk the Tormentor. And we'll go into, their effects and the deck itself here as we go on. So the Wicked Avatar we're running two of. They're all fiends, and very similar effect in terms of how they're summoned, but different effects in terms of what they're doing on field. So, cannot be special summoned, must be normal summoned / set by attributing 3 monsters. That's the same by all of them. And then, if this card is normal summoned, your opponent cannot activate spell / trap cards until the end of their second turn after this effect's activation. So it's almost like a Swords of Revealing Light, but for spell and trap. You know what I mean? It's very cool. And then also, this card's attack and defense are equal to the highest attack on the field, plus 100, except the Wicked Avatar. So you can start to get some weird effects going on with some of the other monsters depending on how they're summoned, or which ones are summoned first. Next, we are running 2 of the Wicked Eraser, same summoning requirements, and this card's attack and defense are equal to the number of cards your opponent controls times 1,000. So similar stuff to, what Slifer would be doing. Instead of hand, it's, their monsters. Or cards they control, sorry. And during your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy all cards on the field. So it is a great backup kind of field wipe, or just to summon out just a field wipe. That might be the only option you have at the moment. Lastly, we are running 1 of the Wicked Dreadroot, and of course these numbers could be varied up and changed. I changed up here and there as I'm trying out different strategies, taking the deck in different directions. And it cannot be special summoned, must be normal summoned / set by attributing 3 monsters, same deal, but its effect is the attack and defense of all other monsters on the field are halved. So, not too special with him, but he is more of a beef stick in general. Lastly, for cards, it starts to move into cards that aren't really part of the archetype of the Wicked Gods themselves, but Gap the Divine Soldier is, and slightly with some of the other cards, and there's a spell card that does include them slightly as well, so we'll get into all that. But the way Gap the Divine Soldier is technically involved with them is, in the manga, he is like more of a he is part of their archetype, and his effect is more attack based on the Wicked Gods that are in your hand, I believe. But for actual Yu-Gi-Oh, our version, it is all monsters are changed to face-up attack position, and their battle positions cannot be changed. Flip effects are not activated at this time, and once per turn you can reveal any number of Fiend monsters in your hand to give this card 300 attack for each revealed card until the end phase. So, although it does make it a bit more broad, the Wicked Gods aren't really included in his... They're not really technically combined, even though they kind of are. Moving on, we have 3 Arima the Wicked Warden. Now, I don't think this was technically in design with the idea of being with the Wicked Gods. It just happens to have Wicked in the name, but it also works with Layer of Darkness, which is a card that works very well with the Wicked Gods themselves, so it kind of works out into a whole thing, you know what I mean? So another card that is technically kind of part of it, I guess. But it is, you can discard this card, add 1 Layer of Darkness from your deck to your hand. You can tribute 1 dark monster and draw 1 card, or if you tributed a dark monster other than this card to activate this effect, you can add 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to your hand instead. Sorry. And you can only use this effect of Arima the Wicked Warden once per turn. So that, of course, works with some of our sauce that we've shown off. Plus, it's just a very good card for getting that Layer of Darkness, for working different sauce, and it works with Layer of Darkness with the tributes, as we'll kind of get to once we get there. Now, my absolute favorite card in the deck that has nothing to do with the Wicked Gods, other than, I guess, it's like a Dark Fiend. Juragadu. I don't really know how you say his name. I just say whatever at the time. I love this card because it's just an absolute meme from our dollar store pulls. But I do have some nicer versions here. But what does he do? During the battle step, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, gain 1,000 life points. You can only use this effect of Juragadu once per turn. Quick effect, you contribute this card, then target one face-up monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of the next turn. So, what you can kind of do is spam Juragadoos a bit and get them out in the battle phase, and it works with, of course, boosting attack. But with some other sauce that we've included, it can just be very fun. One of my favorite cards, to be honest, just because of how goofy he is and all the effects he has popping off. Another great card in the deck, Reactor Slime. We have a bunch of the kind of slime cards in here, just because they work so well with, of course, the Egyptian god slime, or whatever it's called, the slime god. I can never remember his name. We'll get there, though. But the Reactor Slime, during your main phase, you can activate this effect, special summon 2 slime tokens, Aqua, Water level 1, blah, blah, blah. Also, you cannot normal summon or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except Divine Beast monsters. But that's not really what we're worried about. More what we're worried about is during the battle phase, quick effect, you contribute this card to set 1 Metal Reflect Slime from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and it can be activated this turn. So, of course, you could do this on your opponent's turn. It is just the battle phase, you know what I mean? So, that works out pretty well, and you don't have to activate his first effect. It is, you can activate this effect. So, he's mainly there to get that slime, back out from the grave, back onto the field. Maybe you just have him in hand. Many different uses. And, of course, if you needed to, you could go into the slime tokens, maybe just as a last resort, to get, two walls instead of 1, if he's, like, your last card in hand and nothing on field. Moving on, we got 2 Scapegoat. Pretty self-explanatory, Scapegoat, except it's a flip monster, and it special summons any number of Black Sheep tokens. So pretty good stuff. One kind of annoying card if you're going to play on, like, Master Duel, or you're slowly spawning out the Scapegoat tokens, then they get wrecked, and you have to do it again, like, next turn. It's a little ridiculous, but it is a card I like. Something I'd maybe try and switch out in the future for maybe something else, Definitely some sauce to work with. Another banger of a card, bit more expensive, so you could always work with more Reactor Slimes and stuff like that, or just another card in general. But Guardian Slime here, if you take battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand, and during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can make this card gain defense equal to that opponent's monster's attack, and during the damage calculation only. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can add 1 spell / trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card the Winged Dragon of Ra. Is, that inherently that useful, the Winged Dragon of Ra part? Maybe. There could be a card that lists him that is useful specifically in the deck, but it is more just to get him out, have another defensive piece, and to use him for God Slime's, play. Next, we threw in 1 Phantom Sky Blaster to spam out some extra tokens. When this card is normal or flip summoned, you can special summon any number of Sky Blaster tokens. I won't read off their attack and defense level, but you can see there, up to the number of monsters you control, and once per turn during your standby phase, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Sky Blaster monster you control. Sky Blaster monsters you control cannot declare an attack during the turn you activate this effect. So it does kind of work well if you're maybe going to come around and then you can hit again. Or if there's some other slight plays that you could work with too. And then lastly, a Marshmallow. I love Marshmallow, just an absolute classic stall piece. A little bit of burn damage. After damage calculation, if this card was attacked and was face down at the start of the damage step, the attacking player takes 1,000 damage, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. It can really throw people off and get people, a little stuck. Moving to the spells. 3 Fiend Sanctuary, an absolute beast of a card, special summon 1 Metal Fiend token, blah blah blah. It cannot attack. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving it. So already it's a banger with that. But during each of your standby phases, you pay 1,000 life points or destroy that token. But it is mostly we can use that token for whatever, and we can bring out as many as we want. So already we could spam out, if we got 3 of these and a Wicked God, we have a Wicked God on the field. You know what I mean? And we don't have to worry about Fiend Sanctuary downsides. Some field spell action. We have Mound of the Bound Creator. Level 10 or higher monsters in the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And if a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the player who controlled the destroyed monster takes 1,000. So it's a good little way for burn damage. Of course, all the Wicked Gods, the Guardian Slime, a bunch of different cards work well with this, the Egyptian God Slime. And when this card is on the field and destroyed by battle or destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 divine monster from your deck to hand. So that could work with some sauce. Of course, none of the ones we have are divine, but you could maybe work in some actual god sauce, which would be cool in the future. Next, 2 Layer of Darkness. This is where some absolute menacing sauce comes in with some of like the Arma stuff and can just be used very crazily. All face-up monsters on the field become dark, and once per turn, if you attribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you contribute 1 dark monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control it. And once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many torment tokens, 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, as possible to the turn player's field in defense position up to the number of monsters tributed this turn. So if you start to do some crazy sauce, you could bring out a Wicked God, and then a bunch of tokens to use as wall, or to bring out another Wicked God. So there's lots of potential there. Another amazing card in the deck, and I'd bring this one up to 3 possibly, Arrivals. During the battle phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 monster. What makes this so good? You can spam it out with some Geregadoo sauce. You can spam it out with whatever, but of course it's a normal summon. So you can bring Wicked Gods out in the battle phase while you're spamming out your Geregadoos, your, other stuff. And really, surprise them out. So there is some great sauce there. Next, we got 2 one-time passcode. Another one you could maybe bring up to 3, but it's the same idea as the Fiend tokens. It just special summons a token that we can use for stuff. But this one you can only activate once per turn. So we don't want to see too many of them, maybe in our opening hand, if possible. Next, we got 2 Scapegoat. If you don't know what it does, I don't know what to tell you. Boss of a card, though. But the main resource with Scapegoat is, of course, we can't we cannot summon other monsters the turn we activate it, but we could set it, activate it on their turn, get to our turn, and then start to use those tokens to go into links, to use those links as tributes, which there's lots of potential for that. Next, we threw in Set Rotation, a good little, viewer recommendation. Haven't really tried it out yet, but it is very good. Set 2 field spells with different names from your deck on the field, 1 on your field, 1 on your opponent's field, and either of those cards remain set on the field, Neither player can activate or set other field spells. So a great way to maybe block them out of field spells if you need to, by just keeping yours set and having 1 up on their field. Or you could hopefully, they might flip it, and you could maybe get the bonuses potentially, and then just pop off from a combo that you're waiting for it to be flipped on. There's lots of potential there, and of course it's quick play. Then a Monster Reborn, Change of Heart, and we threw in a Divine Evolution like the last actual Wicked God card, at least Wicked God related. This card's activation and effect, cannot be negated. Choose 1 monster you control whose original type is Divine Beast, or whose original name is any of the Wicked Gods, except a monster already affected by Divine Evolution, gains 1,000 attack and defense. Its effect activation and its activated effects cannot be negated. Also, it gains the following effect. When this card declares an attack, you can make your opponent send 1 monster they control to the graveyard, their choice. So it can be a powerful card. I just say it's less of what the deck's kind of focused on right now, but it could be something I kind of more wrap around in the future. I'd say in previous deck profiles, we used it a little bit more fluently. Moving to the traps, 3 Metal Reflect Slime, just an absolute powerhouse, and of course something we need to combo out for our extra deck plays, but we'll get into that. It is after activation, special summon this card in defense position. It's treated as an effect monster, Aqua type, water, level 10, 3000 defense, and it cannot attack. And it is still treated as a trap. So it is a good wall piece, potentially, as well. Next we got 1 Wabaku, take no battle damage this turn. Classic little stall piece. And then a back to the front to maybe just potentially help us out to get into another Wicked God or just pull off a little, maybe a baby combo or something. Moving to the extra deck, the Egyptian God Slime is just an absolute manie. It is 1 Aqua monster and 1 level 10 water monster, but you can just kind of skip that with must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing 1 level 10 Aqua monster with 0 attack. So we can use this with our, different slime sauce, the Guardian Slime, the Metal Reflect Slime, stuff like that, where we can pop into this so easily, and he's just an absolute monster. This card can be treated as 1 or 3 tributes for the tribute summon of a monster, and cannot be destroyed by battle by your opponent's monsters. And, it cannot be destroyed by a battle, and your opponent's monsters cannot target for attacks, and your opponent cannot target with card effects, any monsters you control. So it is I just completely broke that, but yeah, he's a powerhouse is what I'm trying to get at. And he can work so well to just get 1 of him out and then to start to go into your Wicked God plays, just because they pop off so well in combination with what he's doing. He basically is a 4th God card. Next, we just got a little bit of sauce, Proxy and Link Spider, to go out of those, scapegoat tokens into tributable stuff with these boys. Nothing too special. Geonator Transverser, we'll just throw in its effect because I love this card. 2 effect monsters. This linked card, and monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. So you can literally do a switcheroo if you have it in the right place, swapping out something crappy, one of your tokens for something good they have. It's kind of hard to explain, but he goes hard. She goes hard. Then we just threw in Underclock Taker and a Pit Knight early. Some absolute combo pieces I throw in all the time. And generic sauce. And then a Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. If you get 2 Guardian Slimes out, or Egyptian God Slimes, and then or maybe an Egyptian God Slime out and a Wicked God, you could go into this to tap off at the end of the turn, main phase 2, after you've maybe done some attacks or some field clearing. Go into this, detach, and maybe finish up whatever you're doing. Plus, he's already pretty beefy and works with some of our sauce. So, half-decent card. I don't know why I threw him there. But, half-decent card that kind of works well with the deck. If you have any suggestions, of course, let me know. There's lots of improvements, and of course, like every deck, there's 1,000 ways you could take it to kind of boost it up or mix it with other, archetypes and such, other gimmicks. So let me know if you think there's anything that I missed. And of course, make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I do them pretty consistently, as well as pack openings, like I said, from the dollar store all the way up into, actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Non-repacked stuff that is, has some value behind it. So make sure to check all that out. DIY video projects too for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is one of my favorite decks to come back to. It's definitely in my main set of decks I've using constantly. And it's one of those ones I'm not too hardcore about, so I change it up a lot, working a lot of strategies. So like I said, let me know if there's anything you think I'm missing in the deck, any numbers you think I could change. Other than that, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future content's coming out. And thanks for watching. Peace.